It's another 2 Minutes with Tony. And today we're going to talk for the third time about evidence that God exists. I'm talking about the biblical God, but I'm also talking about evidence, not proof. Evidence is when you see certain indications that point in that direction. They're signs. They kind of like you're driving up the interstate to New York and it says New York, 372 miles. Well, then you know that New York is probably in that direction. It's a sign pointing you there. Well, that's the kind of evidence I'm talking about. We're not talking about absolute proof. But last time I talked about how just the fact that there is a history book that's written contemporaneously by eyewitness testimony called the Bible by witnesses who saw him and heard him with their own eyes. That's pretty strong evidence. There's also evidence, too, of supernatural events that happen now. And as I mentioned in our last time, I've seen thousands of things like that. Now, I'm not the only one. There are thousands and thousands of people. I will tell you, my first trip to a foreign country, I was there with a preacher who was preaching to 1,000 very poor people. And there was a lady, a very poor lady, indigenous, laying on the floor, crying and pounding her fist, saying, God, I need to be able to see. How am I going to take care of my kids? So I prayed a measly little prayer. The person who was with me prayed a measly little prayer. And then this woman prayed like, I mean, it was shaking what was going on. It was not shaking emotionally. I go, wow, this woman is really wanting to get her eyes back. She gets up and she goes, Mas claro. It was a Hispanic country, a Latin country. She says, more clear, more clear. And when we finished praying, she got all of her eyesight back. I saw that with my own eyes. There was another trip. There was a doctor in the audience that I knew, that his wife and his son had just been healed. And so he chose to believe, along with his family, that God is real. When a woman came forward for prayer, really a teenager with her little baby son, probably no more than 6 months old, I had the doctor come up and, why don't you pray? You've got faith. And so he prayed. And what he prayed for was there was this bulging mass, this hernia, I suppose, between the leg and the body, because the woman ripped off the diaper and it was pretty plain what was there. And when this doctor put his hand and prayed in the name of Jesus, I watched that thing disappear. Bam. The woman saw it. She screamed. She hit the ground, just crying and wailing with joy that her son was healed, that God loved her son enough to heal her son. I mean, come on, guys. That's evidence. I know it's not scientific proof in a manner of speaking, but I'm telling you, that's the kind of evidence that will make you stop and think, maybe I ought to look more into this. So we'll see you again next time on 2 Minutes with Tony.